We are going to use the app brushes to manipulate artwork that we have already created. So brushes is right down here. It's a paint palette, and you can just press on that to start working. We're going to choose a canvas. So there is a plus button up in the corner, in the right hand corner, that you'll hit, and you can choose the size and shape of your canvas. What I'm going to look for right now is this one right here, but I don't want it side to side. I actually want it vertical. So I'm going to click, just tap on it and see how it turns so that it's vertical. This is perfect. This is what I want. I'm going to hit create. That's going to bring me into this page. This is my canvas that I will be using. I'm pinching in with my two fingers because the first thing that I'm going to do is add a picture. Up in the right hand corner, there is a little image with mountains and a sun. Go ahead and click on that, and that will let you into your photos. If it doesn't, you might have to say, yeah, it's okay. You can bring photos in. So you might have to go into settings. But once you've done that once, you don't have to worry about it again. This is the image that I'm going to use, but I'm going to make it really big to fill up most of my image. So that looks good. I can see my canvas around it. That's about where I want it. I'm going to say accept, and it's going to get rid of a lot of that image, but that's perfectly fine. Okay, so now let's go across the scroll bar at the bottom. I'm going to start out with this one. This means I can change the colors. So I can change the colors this way. I can change the colors this way. I can change it so that it's transparent. That means that I can see through it a little bit, or opaque. That means that I can't. And I can also collect a color from my original image. So if I press my finger down, you can see that this circle kind of comes around my finger. And that is allowing me to choose a color that exactly matches the colors that I have on my image. It's a strong tool. I love that tool. Okay, then we have a brush. That means that I can draw. We have an eraser. That means it'll erase. We have this swoosh mark. And this swoosh mark gives me lots of options for different brushes. If I want to change the size of my brush, I can go ahead and switch that over here. If I'm just going to choose this brush. If I create something that I don't want, I hit this little squiggly mark over next to, like, over there. So there's a little squiggly mark. That means undo. If I liked what I had, I can redo it. So undo, redo. I don't want that. So I'm going to undo it. And then the last thing and the most important thing on this app is this number 2 down here. Now, this means that I can create layers. So if I take the 3 lines over on the side, I can actually move these layers. So I want my image to be the number 1 layer right now. We'll move it later. It doesn't really matter, I guess. But just so that you know that it can move up or down. So I'm going to click on that layer and notice that the blue area is around my image. That's good. That's what I want. And instead of using a brush first, I'm going to use an eraser. And I'm going to go right up here and I'm pinching out so that I get a closer view, and I can change the size of my eraser, but I'm going to start erasing. And I'm going to go all the way around the image that I want to keep. So I can make it very small when I'm up next to my artwork. And when I'm farther away and it's a little safer, I can make my brush bigger. And I'm going to go ahead and do this around my entire image here. So I'm going to just erase using the different size brushes, pinching in to get more detail. If it's a small area, I might need a smaller brush until I get rid of everything except for the dog itself. Okay, I'm back in the gallery and I'm going to click on the project that we have been working on. And you can notice that I got rid of all of the color around my dog. So I have two choices here. When I'm back in gallery, I can swipe to go in and edit, or I can push play, and that's going to show me the process that I took to get where I am so far. So I just wanted to take a minute to show you that when I was really close to my image, I made my brush or my eraser very small. I also was zooming in. That's the one part that this doesn't show us very well, but I zoomed into all those small areas. When I was doing the larger areas, my brush was much larger. Okay, now I'm ready to start working again. So I'm going to swipe to get in, and that's going to allow me to start manipulating again, start changing this up. So I have one layer down here with my dog. I'm going to click on number 2 up here, and I'm going to choose a color that I want for my background. So let's see, I kind of like this blue, but I want it a little bit more bright and bold. And I'm going to increase my brush, and I chose a brush that is nice and solid. Let's talk about that brush actually. This brush I use probably the most. So I'm going to just choose another brush. I'll say plus, and I'm going to edit it. So if I edit, this is how you make that brush. This is a really important brush. You go for that circle, and then you put the hardness to 100, intensity to 100, that to 100. Spacing is going to be 0, jitter 100, scatter is going to be back down to 0. Then I also go down to the dynamics down here and put this right in the center for all of them. That's going to give me my nice solid brush that I can use for drawing. This is the one that I'm going to use, and I'm going to make it really big, and I've picked my color, and I'm going to cover up everything. Don't worry, I have a trick for you. I want to tell you about this trick. So once I have covered the entire background, I'm going to go over here to my layers again, go to where it said those 3 little lines, and pull this down. Look at that. It places my dog right up front again. So this is an amazing tool. I'm actually going to get rid of the dog for right now. So there's an eyeball right by the dog. If I click on that eyeball, it makes the dog disappear temporarily. If I click on it again, poke the eye, it comes back. So I'm going to make that disappear right now. I'm going to think about the background, and I think I'm going to put some nice flowers in the background, nice simple flowers. Now, anytime that I'm adding something new, I'm going to add a layer. So I say plus. I'm going to, yeah, no, I'm going to make that disappear right now. Hit plus, go to this second layer here. So because the blue is around that layer, then I know that's where I'm drawing. So I'm going to decrease my brush, stick with the same one that I had. Yep, I like that nice solid one this time around. And I'm going to make some circles. These are the start of some flowers. So I'm just going to do a couple to give you an idea. And this is the layer that is going to be kind of my base layer. And I think for this one, I'm going to add some stems coming down too. So coming like that, and like that, and straight down up here too. I want to get that little area. And if I wanted to, I could draw, a little bit more detail on my flowers. This is just kind of the beginning. And I'm not sure how I want these flowers, so I'm going to add another layer so that if I don't like how I create it, I can go ahead and just get rid of that layer later on. Maybe do this nice dark purple and increase my brush and add this going around. Now I know this looks pretty sloppy right now. I can fill this in and look what I can do later on. I can go here, switch this down below. Awesome. I'm going to actually color that a little bit. So it can look nice and neat. once I'm done, but I can be kind of sloppy as I'm creating. So you can play with the different kinds of brushes. Maybe I do this one and I have a new layer, right? Green around that new layer, or I'm sorry, blue around that new layer. Choose a new color, new brush, and oh, and I have to put this up here. I couldn't see what I was doing, and it was because it was behind that layer. So I can give this some texture and change this in a bunch of ways. Now, I'd finish my flowers and whatnot, but I want to see that dog on top again. That is going to look so awesome. So maybe I decided, oh my gosh, that purple flower is just a little bit too much like my dog. I can go ahead and get rid of that, or I can delete the whole layer altogether and then create something new by just adding another layer. Guys, I'm going to tell you, when you start out with this, you're going to make mistakes. Lots and lots and lots of mistakes. But once you understand the layers and the brushes and you have more practice with it, it's going to become more and more interesting and successful for you, and you're going to enjoy it more. So don't be disappointed if it's difficult to begin with. That's okay. Expect that. Okay, I want to make sure I'm on the right layer. Ooh, well, that's going to work. Let's see if that looks better with my dog. Oh, yeah, I like that better. So I'm going to continue finishing up the background for my image that I'm creating right here. And then I will be completed with this project.